Hello and happy new vlog. Now that I'm back from Spain, I'm afraid you'll have to spend more time looking at this and less time looking at, medieval architecture and works of art. So first of all, let me apologise.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
No, but he's pretty adorable, isn't he? Hello. So because the internet is run by cats, I thought I would show you a cat to start things off, put everything in a good place before I have a very early vlog rant. Get it out of the way so I'm done. Holiday was awesome, as you saw. We deliberately got a not terribly late flight back from Barcelona to Gatwick because we know what Gatwick is like late at night. Sky Bridge and trains being missed and all that kind of hoo-ha. However, the plane that we were supposed to get, obviously we don't know where the aircraft ended up, but not in Barcelona. Operational issues. So they had to use another Easyjet plane on a different route. Well, all in all, that meant that we left an hour and a half late, which is already pretty bad, but there was no information until literally they put us on the plane. Although they didn't put us on the plane, they put us on those little buses, and they drove us out to the plane, and then we sat on the bus for 20 minutes looking at the plane, whilst they obviously worked out where they were going and fueled it appropriately and all those kind of things. So that was a pain, so we got off the ground an hour and a half late. So we were thinking, oh god, we're going to miss the train from Gatwick. The flight was pretty straightforward. However, when we got into the operational area of Gatwick, we were put into a hold because Gatwick were doing a runway changeover, which took a couple of minutes and meant that took half an hour, meant that we were late landing, so now we were 2 hours late. So then we finally landed properly, but as you know, if you get an EasyJet flight back to Gatwick after about 11 PM, all the flights dock at the other side of the Sky Bridge, which is a really, really long way out from the main part of the airport. So that meant there was a 15-20 minute walk to passport control, where the automatic passport retina things were broken, so we had to stand in the queue for 15 minutes. So by the time we got to where our baggage had beaten us by half an hour, and it was actually sitting off the carousel waiting for us. So may I be the first person to say to EasyJet today, or maybe the first person this second to say, what a terrible service. That absolutely sucked. No information, late, apologies, but no, apologies don't go a very long way when you've missed a train. Not very helpful, thank you. And Gatwick, as always, it was excruciating. Your service after 10 PM at night is beyond terrible. Truly alarming. So there we go. So in the end we got a train, but obviously most of the trains that we wanted had all finished and we couldn't get back to queue. So we managed to go via East Croydon to Clapham, where I used an Uber because I had a voucher and got a free Uber, and that took us all the way back to queue, which was the best part of the journey by a long stretch. Well done, Uber. Your service was impeccable, flawless, wonderful. And well done to Aman, who was our driver, and he was great too. So it did end well, and the holiday was great, but EasyJet and Gatwick tried their best to ruin it. Anyhow, now that I've had 5.5 hours sleep, it dawned on me that I should go to work. Well, it didn't dawn on me. I was contacted whilst we were on holiday, so can you work Thursday? So here we are. This is me going to Mortlake to go to Vauxhall to spend a day there, and then tomorrow a day in shiny Camden. This is how I'd like to go to work this morning, but unfortunately we're going to try South West Trains instead. Man versus food. I'm going to film you Instaing your food.
It's too close, I can't do it.
Steve has a signature burger, Tom has a Texan burger, and I have some sort of pitmaster related double meat affair. Happy Saturday. It's rather grey, isn't it? Certainly isn't as good as last Saturday when we were on a train whistling through the Spanish countryside along the coast in the sun. But you can't have everything. this is just how English summer is. Unpredictable and largely grey. We're going to experience English summer properly because our summer holiday this year is in the Lake District in 6 weeks' time. But for now we have a long bank holiday weekend to enjoy the grey miserableness. I'm not too bothered if I'm honest. Right now I'm just heading to M&S to buy some provisions because we don't have any of those. And this is a bit overgrown here. I haven't been here for a week and it's turned into a forest. Oh well, nature for you. There is plans for a family gathering on Monday, however, so we'll have to see how that goes. It should be pretty much everybody in one place in Farnborough, so we're just going to use the next couple of days to unpack, relax, not do a lot, recover from a holiday really.
Because
And then you've been filmed as well. On camera. Isn't that matching? Yeah.
You still with us, yeah?
Yeah.
Hello.
You actually get in a sort of mindset, don't you? Yeah.
Mamma mia.
And their daughter was going to Uganda teaching for 6 weeks, and we happened to mention it, and she looked up the list and found so funny.
Yeah.
This is about the only place in the world where you can both get pushed into a canal by a cyclist and then sold drugs. Not usually at the same time. Although if you get lucky, you never know, you might need the drugs once you've fallen in the canal. So I thought I'd give this a bit of a periscope on the way into work, but largely because I was going to vlog this anyway, and I thought, well, why not do it live? So here we are. I have a few issues with periscope. Vertical video is the first one. This is better, isn't it? Horizontal video. Seriously, Twitter, you can't do horizontal video on periscope. That is shameful, highly inadequate. Who watches video vertically? Who has one eye above another on their face? That just doesn't happen. 16 by 9 please, not 9 by 16. Good morning. It's an absolutely perfect day. It's sunny, it's warm. The birds are singing. Except I haven't finished 2 videos. Well, that's not true. I've finished both of them. I haven't actually exported either of them and sent them, so that's why I'm hurrying somewhat to get to somewhere with the Wi-Fi so I can do that. I'm trying to enjoy this walk at the same time. I'm multitasking. So today and tomorrow I'm in Vauxhall working at WebVid, and yesterday and Friday I'm at USP doing USP things. So keeping it varied. It pretty much hasn't stopped from the moment we got back from Barcelona. But you know, that's no bad thing. Although when the weather's like this, I really would like a day to myself. It's just not, it ain't gonna happen. So I'm coming to terms with that slowly. So it was really nice on, when was it in the end? Monday, to go up to Farnborough, see Jeffrey for his birthday, and get a lot of the family together in one place, as you saw very briefly. It's very rare that we get every single person together, but we did pretty well. We got pretty much everyone apart from Alex, and one of my cousins once removed, Adam, and Mike. So that's not bad. That's a pretty good gathering. It must have been sort of 25-30 people. The children outnumbered the adults about 2.5 to 1. But it was very good fun. And the weather held, and everyone had a great time running around, playing football and croquet at the same time, and eating, stuffing their faces. So very good fun indeed. Look at that. That's why it's nice to live near the Thames when the sun comes out. Just get the water sparkling pleasantly. Gutted, I have to spend all day in the office. Totally gutted. Good morning again. We only speak in the morning. But it's such a lovely day. More walking happening right now. It's Thursday, and we're going to do this Thursday what we were going to do last Thursday, but we'd only just got back. I'm a bit knackered. Which is we're going to go, hopefully, to steak night at the Greyhound on Kew Green. This is how you know it's summer. The sprinklers are out already. We haven't had a drought yet. They've just sown some new grass. Anyway, we're nearly at the end of May already, which is quite scary, which means we're like 2 weeks into a Conservative government and, you know, the world hasn't ended yet. Although they're giving it a damn good shot. As I speak to you now, we still have the Human Rights Act, thank God, and we don't have right to buy for housing associations yet. Also, thankfully, those two things may change, both of which would be very, very sad indeed. My thought on housing is quite simple. The proposals haven't come forward yet for how right to buy would work, but looking at what's been talked about, it appears that the amount of money, that the discount that you'd get on houses in London, for example, would be absolutely enormous. That would mean that you'd get the equivalent of £20,000 a year in cash because of the discount, which is absurd, of course. It also means that the housing associations would probably get nowhere near enough money to replace the stock like for like. Plus, even if they could, they'd have to build it elsewhere, which would obviously increase their area that they operated in and reduce their margins and what have you, make it harder for them to provide a good service. So that's that dealt with, that disaster that's coming. Now the Human Rights Act, I have no idea why this is controversial at all. Provides equal rights for every single human on the planet. Seems very straightforward. With these kind of things, with provisions of freedom and liberty, you either have the option of extending it to everybody and understanding that in doing so you will be extending it to people who are bad and evil and up to no good, but you'll be sure that you're covering every good, innocent person in the world. Or you get so obsessed about the fact that you provided freedoms to people you don't like that in order to stop them getting freedoms, you also have to take them away from other people as well, because you start putting arbitrary lines in. So in my mind, you're always better providing it to everybody and paying the very small price that you treat people you don't like the same as you treat people you do like. But, as I said before, because our voting system is so terrible, it means that despite the fact that you only win 37% of the votes, you can make 100% of the laws for 100% of the people. And of those 37%, probably not all of them even want you to make laws on certain issues. So it's probably even less than 37% support you actually have. But first past the post is badly named, terribly outdated, and actually inherently unfair when you have more than two options on the table. Welcome to the exciting world of filming a room. So today we're going to have someone give a presentation here, and we're going to film them and see what it sounds like.
Yeah, I just thought you'd sort of check. You know, like Cilla Black used to do Surprise Surprise, and she used to sort of reunite old families. I thought you'd track down an old car of mine and was like, you know, come along, surprise, here's your Land Rover.
So what you just saw was Steve on the phone to We Buy Any Car, who rang him actually because he booked an appointment because they sent him an email that was completely nonsensical. So if you want to hear the whole of that ridiculousness, go to Steve's SoundCloud page, which I will attempt to link by writing it. Write it here, Toby. And yes, you can hear that whole absurd conversation in its entirety. That was excellent. Now, before I go out for a steak, hopefully, and failing that, an Italian, I wanted to talk about something else. But what you know is my default here when I get sort of ranty is it always ends up something to do with politics, like it was this morning. Human Rights Act and etc. etc. I want to talk about something happy, something that's equally powerful, but doesn't require as much sort of, I don't know, dodginess and general depression. Music. Let's talk about music. I was just listening to my iPhone on shuffle on the way home, which is always great fun. And I heard 2 tracks that were amazing. And it doesn't really matter what they are. Music's subjective, so what do you care? But I want to talk about the feeling that you get when you hear a piece of music that just really hits you. There's some tracks, and it's not the track as such. It's a combination of the track and the person listening. Usually, they just get you completely perfectly. Some of the experience, I can best describe it as like hairs on the back of your neck stand on end, like the air's almost sucked out of your lungs. It's that powerful. If you've never had that with a piece of music, I kind of pity you. It's one of the greatest feelings to have a piece of music that's just completely overwhelming. And it's fantastic that music can still do that. And it's just a fantastic form of art that's sort of so wired into your brain. And it's incredible. And I was curious, actually. I'm sure you won't respond, but I'd really like to know if there's a piece of music. I don't want a whole list. I don't need anything, but one that sort of comes to mind that when you listen to it, it's just completely overwhelming. And if anyone puts Darude Sandstorm in the comments, there's going to be trouble. Steve. Welcome to the Greyhound, where it is steak night. These 2 steaks are cooked exactly oppositely, as always. This one briefly looked at a grill from 100 metres, and that one sat on it for 10 minutes. So we've switched pubs, and we've got another brownie. We had 1 brownie in that pub, and we're having 1 brownie in this pub. It's working well though, so we've come over to the Cricketers on the other side of the green after having a very nice steak at the Greyhound. So I'm on my way home. It's Friday evening. I'm walking along the canal in Camden. I'll leave you with one final thought at the end of this vlog. If you ever want to score drugs in Camden, as I mentioned before, very friendly drug dealers, very nice, very polite. But their hours are very, very precise. 5:30 till about 7:30. Otherwise, you're out of luck. So bear that in mind if you're trying to score drugs in Camden. Hope you've enjoyed this highly informative video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you next week.